Hello, Mike Swanson here. We've had a tremendous bounce, rally in the stock market in the month of October. Now in August, the S&P 500 fell below its 200-day moving averages. It had a very sharp drop, but then in October, it rallied back up to it. Now, in bear markets, you normally get big bear market rallies up to and sometimes even through the 200-day moving averages, and then they tend to top out, go sideways the market, and then roll over and go back down to the lows. I think that's what we can see over the next couple of months. But you may disagree with that. You may be bullish on the stock market. Whichever the case is, one thing is crystal clear, and that is the stock market is now overbought. It is now at a key resistance point, and the upside is very limited. And that means that there are several stocks that are actually in danger because the upward momentum is now starting to fade away from the stock market, and we can expect that in November. Not a big rally like we saw in October, but at the very least a sideways market. And it makes a situation where stocks that are in a vulnerable position are likely to decline. And there are several such stocks now in the Nasdaq 100 that I think are going to be in trouble in the month of November. And let me show you these stocks. Let me show you 5 of them and why they're in a troubled technical position. One of them is Illumina Incorporated. This is a stock that collapsed in September and failed to rally with the stock market in October. You can see this red chart here, red line below the chart. This is the relative strength plot, which compares the action of the stock we're looking at with the S&P 500. When this plot declines, that means the stock is lagging the market. Stocks in such a position tend to lead when the stock market has a pullback. And even if it just fails to go up, they can run into big trouble. Illumina is such a stock. While the market went back up to the 200-day moving average, Illumina has barely been able to bounce at all. Now, there's even bigger problems with this stock, and that's the on-bounce volume indicator, which is in a sharp decline. What this means is that overall, on down days, there's greater volume than on up days for this stock. That's a sign of distribution, which is a sign that the stock is likely to run into further trouble. So if I want to look to see if I have a stock in trouble, these are the 2 main things to look for from a charting perspective. And also, if you want to look for stocks to bet against, these are 2 things to look for. And when the market is in an overbought condition at resistance, now is the time to look for such stocks if you want to bet against stocks or actually sell stocks. Another stock in a similar situation is Green Mountain Coffee, GMCR, also one of the stocks that make up the Nasdaq 100, a stock that has been deeply troubled really since December of last year, failed to rally at all in October despite the big rally in the market, and once again, overall downtrending relative strength, downtrending on-bounce volume. Another stock which may surprise you is Tesla. This is a stock that failed to rally in October. It's actually floating above the August lows. Relative strength is in a sharp decline, and so is on-bounce volume. This is a stock that in 2013 was one of the hottest stocks in the stock market, a momentum monster, as Jim Cramer would call it, widely touted on CNBC and shows such as Fast Money. But now this is a danger stock, a stock that can really do a lot of damage to people who own it in their portfolio. It's a stock you want to sell if you own it, a stock you may even want to consider betting against through put options or short selling activities. Another stock is Jarmon, also sharply downtrending on-bounce volume. In fact, the on-bounce volume for Jarmon can be described as a total disaster, relative strength in a sharp decline. Again, a stock that has been unable to rally with the stock market at all in the month of October. It's a stock that could be in deep trouble for the rest of the year. And finally, let's talk about Micron, because Micron has gone down about 50% in the past 12 months. It's a stock with sharply declining relative strength, a stock that failed to rally above the long-term moving averages in October. It did have a spurt up, but that spurt faded away even before the stock market made its last peak at the very end of October. So here's the thing about the stock market. When the market has a big rally, that's when people become interested in buying stocks, trying to chase the rally. They get caught up in the news, they get caught up in the daily gyrations. But you don't want to buy into tops. You don't want to buy after the market has rallied. Now, in bull markets, if you do that, typically what happens is you'll see the market pull back. You'll see yourself get a loss because you bought into a top, but the market will then come back and make new highs and go up and make you your money back. We're not in that type of market anymore. People who bought in July experienced big losses, and even though the market's come back, most stocks have not come back with the stock market averages. So people are still sitting on losses who bought in the summer, and that's a sign that the market is not in the type of bull market situation we saw in 2014, 2013, 2012. This is a different type of market. It's a more dangerous stock market, and I think we're going to see signs that the market's actually going to roll over before the month of November is over and start to decline again. But we're going to be monitoring that situation to see if those warning signs appear this month, the next couple of weeks, and I'll update you on that. But let's assume, for argument's sake, that we're not going to see the market roll over and we're just going to pause and consolidate the gains. Even if that's the case, the stocks I've highlighted are having very troubling technical signs and are likely to decline anyway, and lots of stocks in the market are in that situation. The leadership is only in a very, very, very narrow dozen or so stocks in the Nasdaq 100, while the rest of the Nasdaq 100 is in trouble. So I got a lot more we'll be talking about in the coming weeks, and stay tuned for more updates.